they're not just light, they're super light. Rich here from the RCNetwork.com, and welcome to another episode of Tool Tuesday. Yes, we have some brand new tools here in studio, and let's go over these brand new ProTek RC True Torque SL driver set. But before we get to those, let's take a quick history lesson of some of the tools that I've featured here at the RC Network. Starting with some of the first tools I ever actually paid for, besides those nice little L wrenches they gave you in your car box. These are the Weehas, and I thought going with cheap tools would be a good thing. Next were these Elite drivers that, honestly, the retractable thing stopped working, and I use them for drill bits now. The original ProTek RC tools, the True Torques, although I didn't really like the kind of knurled finish on these, and they just had a really small handle. The Techno RC tools have been a pretty good tool. I love the handle size, I love the step down of the actual bits right here, and they probably about my second or third favorite driver to date. My MIP black handles have been probably one of my favorites, although I don't use them as much as I should. The white has kind of come off a little bit, but these are definitely a great driver. The Vanquish ProTek's drivers have probably the longest tips on any driver, and that's solely why I keep these around. And finally, the OG, the original gangster. These are the MIP amber handles. You just can't beat these things, and today we're going to be taking a look at the True Torque versus the MIPs. Alright, so here we have it, the SLs. These are the Superlights. If you haven't already done so, please check out Brett's video from Amain Hobbies. He played a pretty good little portrayal of the hashtag SL in his video. So if you want a good laugh, take a look at his video. But he goes over a lot of good points on these drivers that I may not cover in this video. As for kits, the SLs are available in this metric version right here. These are the standard metric. This metric kit covers 1.5, 2.0, 2.5, and 3.0 drivers. They also have a ball end metric set, and of course for you SAE fans, they also have a kit for you too. Nut driver wise, they have a whole slew of individual drivers. No kits at this time, but I've heard that they are putting one together. I do have the metric set right here, coming from anywhere from a 4.0, 5.0, 5.5, 7.0, and 8.0. At first glance, what's really nice about the ProTek kit is it comes in a nice case. Now, this is a case that'll pretty much last you. You can just throw this thing in your pit bag, has a little locking mechanism right there to lock it all in, and inside, some padded contents in here to keep your handles looking fresh. Taking these drivers out of the box, the first thing you notice is just how light they are. These things almost feel like you have nothing in your hand. I mean, it's astonishing when you first pick these drivers up, but you do know that there's some quality there. You do have fully CNC'd handles. I mean, these things are machined and very, very nice. The high-speed steel up here on the bits has not changed from the original versions, and these are basically made out of drill bit blanks. So you can imagine how tough these tips will be. Now, the handle, back to this thing. I'm not a fan of knurled handles, but this knurling on here is pretty nice. It does have texture, but it doesn't have the texture that's going to be like 80 grit sandpaper on your hands. Now, some of the features on this particular driver here, you do have markings here for ProTek RC and also 2.0 right there. You also have another indicator for 2.0 up here on the top of the handle here. And then right here, what's really cool is you have this kind of swivel design on the back of the handle, and this thing is, I mean, pretty quick here. It's nice for when you're in a situation where you just need to spin a screw in. Maybe it's a machine screw and you're going into like aluminum, you have to go quite a ways. This thing can turn that thing in pretty quickly. Now back to the tips right here. These things are razor sharp. I can spot a crappy tip like a fart in a car these things I think will do pretty well. Taking a look at the nut drivers here, you do have, of course, markings for ProTek RC. You have an open box wrench design on here versus a closed one on the hex drivers. And then, of course, 7.0 right there. And at the top of the handle, once again, the consistent marking of 7.0. So very, very nice. Same size handle. You still have the spinning feature right there. And you are using spring steel up here versus the high speed steel. So this will have some pretty good durability for those nuts that just won't budge. This is coated with almost like it smells like a varnish almost, but it's going to protect the steel from any type of rust. Now, one thing that is nice about all of these drivers is they have replaceable tips. So right here you have a 2mm grub screw that attaches the tip to the driver handle. So they are replaceable because, after all, none of us ever use these things as pry tools. All right, so let's do a quick weigh-in of some of the drivers here. I have a 2.0 MIP driver, which weighs in at 54 grams. The original True Torque driver from ProTek RC weighs in at 39 grams. And finally, the SL True Torque, which weighs in at 32 grams. Looking at the differences between the True Torque SLs and the MIP amber handles, it's mostly the difference in the handle. So you're getting a lot longer handle with the True Torque right there by a good 3/4, almost a full inch longer handle than the MIPs. Now, as far as the actual length of tool, if we even these out right here, MIP is just a little bit longer, but you do have this kind of chuck portion right here. So really, if you look at the length that you can drive this into, the True Torque is going to win out, I mean, by quite a bit. A good inch there of length of tool in the end. All right, so just a quick little opinion of these two tools. I don't think the MIP is going to get unseated as the king of tools. The ProTek RC True Torque SLs are darn close. I really like the looks of them. I like the feel of them in my hands. They're super lightweight. I think if you're doing some long super marathons of wrench sessions, these may win out in the end only because you're not dragging around a heavier tool. I don't know, but I'm a huge fan of the MIPs, but I think the ProTek RCs are going to be a close second in my book. Well, guys, that is a quick look at these brand new SL drivers from ProTek RC. I can't wait to get some actual use of these things. I have a new kit I'll be building here at the RC Network, so that'll be my first test of these drivers. And of course, I have one of these cool things. I'm going to be loading these things into it and getting this thing ready for the road. So once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave those on down below. And as always, thumbs up and subscribe. That's it for now, guys. Over and out.
What does SL stand for?
Space laser.
No.
Street legal.
No, that's not it, but that's pretty good.
Secret lover?
No, and that's a little too close to our sensitivity level.